Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, I'm probably just gonna start all over with like that. I made like a really long uh, video blog, and I kind of started to lose track of what I was gonna say. So, anyways, it was just about a couple of hours ago where I just had a little bit of a breakthrough with Dad. That I just had this sort of fear of failure. And I was just being hard on myself for the past 10 years, simply because of the whole um, not having the proper diagnosis for a long time, and then having the whole Asperger's there, and then how everybody just didn't know what to do with the Asperger's, and then they kept guessing and over guessing, and all that sort of stuff. But I was just afraid of not amounting to that much because of that. And I was just afraid that just because I had this sort of label of being an Aspie, that I probably wouldn't amount that much. And I think I spend the better part of my life trying to prove to people that I'm not that I'm not that I'm not this sort of freak of nature or whatever just because of the Asperger's, and that I can amount to something as far as that goes. But the funny thing is that I probably realized I shouldn't even done that in the first place. But anyways, I should also explain a little bit that I should have just not been so preoccupied with all that, and that I would be able to basically have fun. I'm just watching Sex and City too, so that's why I'm kind of a little bit distracted here. So, anyways, and then you can also see the seat on my glasses, as far as the whole thing. So, although I never really watched a whole lot of it, because I was also watching Oz as well. So, anyways, as I probably should say, is that if I had just cared a little less about what everybody thought of me, and that I probably would have been able to have more fun with my life, as far as all those years that at that time, that I should be able to go around and have fun and have all these little things that I could do, but I just kind of wasted it for nothing. All I just wasted on was just trying to show people that I'm not some sort of freak of some sort, that I can amount to some things. Sure, most people will probably get that. There's always just going to be these people that will never get it because they're so caught up with the whole what ought to be and what it rather than what it is. That sort of thing, for what it is. So, anyways, as I should also say was that was kind of one of the primary reasons I never really had done these sort of things that I should have been doing about 10 or 15 years ago, as far as that goes. And that was only because of that time where I was just trying to prove to people that I was human and all that sort of stuff. And I think it was just had to do with all of like the whole special ed and IEP and the whole Orange County mental health sort of thing. I think it did kind of help as far as a little bit of having Ellie and Wanda, you know. I could say it was just that I saw Ellie and Wanda back in middle school, I think. Middle school all the way up till high school, I think, I guess. At the start of high school. And then I think it was the last time I actually saw Wanda. No, not Wanda. Yeah, it was Allie. The last time I saw Allie was around junior year, and I think this was kind of like right when I was having a little bit of a nervous breakdown. That part of junior year, and then I almost kind of felt like I was just wanted to give up my whole individuality just to get everybody like Miss O'Connell and Mom and Dad and all that off my back. But I probably should have really cared a little less about it, you know, not take all of that sort of thing way too seriously, and then being hard on myself for that matter, you know. And I should have just simply just learned to relax and all of that, you know. So, although I guess in some ways I probably should have come out at that time, you know, around my junior year, you know, or maybe like sophomore year at that point, you know. But although I was just kind of worried that they would have just gone around and dismissed it off as like that I'm just going through a phase and that I would end up becoming straight again or something like that. So, anyways, I hate having to kind of do this sort of thing, you know, so anyways, as I was saying before, it was, it's just that I kind of just wanted to be kind of left alone as far as with all these people having all these unrealistic expectations and sort of stuff like that, you know. And that was kind of one of the things one of the things why I liked that show Daria back then. And, you know, if anybody had remember the show Daria, you know how Daria was kind of a little bit cynical and abrasive in a way. I think in some ways that maybe she kind of had to be, because everybody was like pressuring her to be something that she wasn't. And I think that was kind of like the case with her. I think I was just having all these pressure of being something that I wasn't, you know. But I guess in some ways I realized that I probably should have just cared a whole lot less a little bit, you know, and had more fun on that, you know. But I think it seems like now it's like I have to go around and make up for all that lost time, you know, with myself, you know, because I had to deal with things, or I should say forced to deal with things that were beyond my control. So, I guess I should say, as far as like, even though it was like been 5 years of all that, you know, but I think I've done a whole lot in the past 5 years, you know. Finally gone out on gone on a couple of dates and all that sort of stuff, you know, and romp around a few times, you know. So I just hope as far as this goes, as far as in a few weeks or months from now, that I probably will actually have like an actual boyfriend for once, instead of just having somebody that was just kind of the unofficial boyfriend, that sort of thing, with how it was like with Ricky. Although I kind of say that with Ricky, that I think things would have worked out a lot better if Matt, Dad, and that Craven and Eloy would have just left me alone, for whatever reasons that they were in my way. As far as Matt and that creep, that they should have just realized that I had somebody else in mind. And then as far as with Eloy, it was kind of like they should have just realized that he had his chance, and that he should have just simply just left me alone, instead of just going around wasting my time, because I think I kind of made it clear to him at this point now that he had his chance, and that I wasn't really asking him to be a boyfriend or anything of that sort. That the thing was, he should have just simply been interested while I was interested in him, instead of just waiting till the last minute to return everything that I felt for him, even though it might not really have been love, and it was just more of many disguises at the time, But what got in that way of that relationship was Mom being in my way, and I think I just wanted her to realize that I know what I'm doing. And it was like the same way with Dad after that, when it was with Ricky, So at least now at this point, they're both out of my way, and that they'll not going to be this sort of backseat driver in my life, And that's just basically what happened as far as a lot of times. I had all these people who were just backseat drivers, whether if it was Mom and Dad, or whether if it was one of the teachers that I had at the time, that they probably had all these silly little goals there that I could do for the entire year, when they didn't realize what it is. Grace, here's like Simon. So you can see he's like right there. Hey, Simon, what are you doing? Hey, don't show your butt to me. Simon, do you have like little spy lens in your butt when you show your butt to me? So, anyways, as I was saying, as far as a lot of that goes, that, I had this sort of, unreal expectations with people, and then I just wanted to be left alone on that, that I'm not going to be able to do all these sort of goals at such and such a time, because it's just natural, and that they should at least be a little bit more realistic on some things, and then at least also to hear me out in some cases. And I think for the most part, I think I wasn't really emotionally ready to handle these kind of little things like that, And I just wish they would have just knocked it off as far as all these little silly little goals about having to have a job and having to have this sort of thing, when I was just not really emotionally ready for one. So, anyways, although I probably should at least be a little bit more concentrated on the movie, but although I kind of read the whole synopsis of it, So, anyways, as I probably should mention, there is that I kind of still wanted to kind of at least try to put on these sort of goals and stuff like that. So now it's like, I think I've been putting off these sort of goals, like learning to drive and all of that sort of stuff. But then I keep thinking maybe I probably couldn't drive, because like, man, but maybe I should at least try. At least try while Dad is still around, because I don't know how long Dad is going to be here. He's probably going to be here for 10 more years or 15 more years, depending on how things go. But on the other hand, I also have to at least try to kind of have a job and all of that sort of stuff, and as well as trying to kind of be on my own. But yet, I've been putting all of that sort of stuff off for years, because I was all just wanting to have Mom and Dad or everybody just to give me the emotional space for me to handle all that, for me to become emotionally ready to have that. I cannot be emotionally ready for things if people were just crowding up my emotional space at that time, Especially if they had all these little goals and that were kind of a little bit unreasonable or unrealistic at that time, Especially if what I say now is that I just wasn't really emotionally ready to handle things like that, and that I should just be able to do these sort of things without having to be committed to all that, that I could, or at least have enough wiggle room for error, But I just feel like I was always been under the pressure to succeed all the time. And I was just wondering where I got this from. Did I just simply just develop this on my own, or somebody was just doing that to me just to have this sort of thing plagued for a long time. So, anyways, as I could have said it before, is that as far as that goes, I probably should at least just wait a while as far as all that kind of stuff, and just do all the things that I should be doing one step at a time rather than just trying to do it all at once, And I think that was just what it was. That I should really be doing all this sort of stuff all at once, not at once, but just one step at a time, because I can't really be able to do it all at once. But it's just really just funny how things go. That I can't really explain some things, how it's funny, but I could always just put a little bit of different examples, But anyways, I should say it's just that for the past 8 years, there was just simply a bit of a weird pattern of such things. That the odd number of years, starting with like 03, they all had started out with like some huge little drama in the beginning of the year, and then the drama somehow resolves by the end of the year, or towards the end of the year, and then as far as in the even number of years, everything was fun, and then until later on in the year that I end up having like some sort of drama then, that kind of ruins the year for some reason. You know, I think to start off, as far as with 03, there were some sort of family problems that happened around the start of the year. And then when that resolved, as well as me wanting to come out and all that, and trying to come out at that time in 03. And then it resolved by coming out and making friends, and then having interest in Eloy and all that. And then the fact that when I was getting noticed the friends in 04 and all that. And then here I parted having a little bit of a falling out with Trevor as far as 04. And then that sort of thing had lasted for a long time, because that was the first time I had a falling out with someone like that. Simply because they couldn't really understand that I was gay, and that everything they thought they knew of me was not the real me. That sort of thing. So, the next thing was, as far as with 05, was sort of that. And as well as breaking up with Eloy and Josh, and all the other little friends that I had over there in Texas, And in some ways, the good part was also getting back in touch with all my old high school friends through Facebook. I mean, not Facebook, I mean MySpace. And then actually moving on with Ricky on MySpace and finding new friends at school and on MySpace as well. So, it was kind of funny, as far as I know, 06, that the start of it was kind of fun, but then that might have been a little bit of a drama a little bit later on, which was the whole thing with Dad being on my case with Ricky, and then, of course, Matt bothering me to go out with him. And the other thing was breaking up with Ricky the two or three times, I should say 2 times. It was 2 times there. And then the start of 07, I think everything was kind of fine when I got back together with him, but then Dad was still on my case as far as the whole thing with 07. And then having some drama with falling out with some guys that I thought I really liked, as some sort of backup boyfriend and all that sort of stuff, and all this other little stuff with Dad. And then that sort of thing kind of resolved that later on, and then of course, I'm kind of having almost everything back the way it probably should have been with Ricky, if I had put more of a connection with him, but things didn't really work out that way, and then I ended up breaking up with Ricky for for the second to the last time then. That was probably back in 08, and then that was the big drama there. The good thing there was having the boys, as far as that goes. And the other little sad thing that was happening as far as 06 was Tom passing away, one of my other cats, that I had. And he lived up to be 18 or 19, and now I have new kitties, so as far as 09, I guess as far as that goes, there could be also just some other drama that I had, but that was just the little bit of the e-drama and stuff like that was going on there, But then I probably shouldn't have really been participating with topics in the first place, But I hardly ever really go there anymore, I only go there every once in a while, But usually, as far as on the gay and lesbian chat boards there, it's always usually the homophobes who are secretly gay, or some guys that are just don't really know, just really are just doing this simply because of they're just simply afraid and of themselves, or afraid of losing their own images and self-worth and that sort of thing because of all the ever-changing stuff in this world. So, anyways, as far as how last year, let's see, last year, I guess I could say there was a kind of a little bit of drama with some guy there, you know. But that was just some sort of jerk. I think I kind of canceled at the last minute or right after that, you know. But he was just a weirdo. So I guess that was just the case, you know. And then, of course, the whole thing with, like, trying to get back with Ricky, you know, but realized, like, he moved and all that, and I was just so pissed off at him for that, you know, and I think he kind of ended up apologizing at the end, you know, as far as that goes. But in some ways, as far as with that 90, what was it, 90, not 93, I mean, I should say, like, last year, that also kind of falling for Drew as far as that goes, and that was kind of one of the good parts of that movie. Not just Drew, but I think I was also, not, but then, of course, the only problem with him was he kind of disappeared one time, so I don't know what happened. It was just another little bit of a mishap or a false start with him, and so I'm thinking that this sort of case with Drew that I had this month and last month, you know, is just another one of those false starts, you know, and then I'm definitely just believing that it's just that he'll probably come around because of the fact that all the things that I spent time with him last month, and then the time before that, which was a while ago, before the holidays, you know, that it seemed to indicate that maybe he does want to have something more with me. He just wasn't really emotionally ready to have all that sort of stuff. And yet, I keep leaving it out to people as far as the stuff before, the stuff last year, you know, when, as far as that goes. The stuff last year, you know. And then, I don't really think he was ever really been stringing me along as far as that goes, because of that sort of stuff. Because if he wanted somebody better, he could also find somebody better, and I wouldn't really care. You know? In some ways, I feel like, yeah. So if guys were just stringing me along like that, I'm just basically gonna string them along back. You know, I'm not really in a rush for a relationship and all that sort of stuff. I just want to get to know them, you know. But I think it's for that. It's just some of them that are like that. You know, I probably would just cut them loose if they were just stringing me along then. Because if they weren't really, I kind of want them to be at least 85 or 95%, maybe 85 or to 100% into me, than just somebody who's like be 40 or 50% and then say that they're 100% or whatever it is when they're really just not even that. You know, that I think they should at least just learn to take the good and take the bad with me. Because I would do the same with all of them, you know, as far as that goes. But believe me, I think that's just one of those things they just should have just realized a long time ago. But oh well. So, anyways, I guess that's just probably it. You know, even though it's been like a long ranting and railing video, you know. But anyways, see you guys next time.